Most men over 60 assume a drop in potency is simply inevitable, like a light bulb slowly burning out. I want to reframe that right away. Aging changes the body, yes, but much of what we think of as inevitable decline is driven by physiology we can influence: blood flow, inflammation, hormone balance, and metabolic health. Small, targeted changes to what you put on your plate can nudge those systems back toward better function. In this video, I'll walk you through 3 foods that research and clinical practice suggest can help support potency, and 3 common foods that quietly sabotage it. I'll explain the why, show practical portion and prep tips, offer safe swaps, and give you a 3-week plan you can try. If this resonates, type "ready" in the comments now and let me know you're in. Start with the problem in plain language. Think of your circulation like a garden hose. Over time, that hose can develop kinks, stiffness, and buildup inside the lining. The key systems behind age-related changes in potency are largely vascular and metabolic. The lining of your blood vessels, the endothelium, becomes less responsive, producing less of a molecule called nitric oxide that helps vessels dilate. Chronic inflammation and insulin resistance further impair that response, and hormonal shifts reduce resilience. When blood vessels don't open reliably, the tissues they supply can't respond as well. That's the core physiology we're targeting with food: improving endothelial function, supporting nitric oxide production, reducing inflammation, and maintaining healthy metabolic signaling. Here's the promise tied to the title. Incorporate 3 specific foods into your regular diet, cut out 3 common culprits, and combine those changes with a few brief daily habits: movement, breathing, and a 1-minute pelvic awareness practice. And many men notice meaningful improvements in weeks to months. I'll be careful. I won't promise a guaranteed restoration, and I'll flag safety concerns where they matter. Let's start with the 3 foods to eat. First food: beetroot and nitrate-rich leafy greens. Why they help? Beetroot and certain greens, spinach, arugula, Swiss chard, are high in dietary nitrates. When you eat them, those nitrates are converted in the body into nitrite and then into nitric oxide, the molecule I mentioned that relaxes blood vessels and improves blood flow. Think of nitric oxide as a natural vessel opener. Clinical studies show that dietary nitrates can improve blood flow and exercise tolerance, and for older adults, improving nitric oxide availability supports better penile vascular responses because it helps the small arteries work more flexibly. How to use them? Aim for a small glass of beet juice or a serving of nitrate-rich greens daily. Practical servings look like 4 to 8 ounces of beet juice or a big handful of raw spinach or arugula with a meal. Roasted beets tossed into salads 2 to 3 times a week also work, and adding a cup of cooked spinach or Swiss chard with dinner is an easy habit. A simple prep tip: roast a tray of beets at the start of the week and toss them into salads or grain bowls. If you dislike beets on their own, blend a small amount into a berry smoothie. The sweetness masks the earthiness. Evidence note and caveat: research suggests that dietary nitrates can improve measures of vascular function, and some trials have shown improved exercise capacity and lower blood pressure. Important safety flag: if you take prescription nitrates, commonly for angina, or have unstable blood pressure, dietary nitrates can interact and cause significant drops in blood pressure. Before adding concentrated beet juice or dramatically increasing nitrate intake, check with your clinician. Also, be mindful of sugar. Avoid bottled beet cocktails with added sugars. Use plain beet juice or whole roasted beets. Second food: fatty fish or omega-3 rich alternatives like walnuts. Why they help? Fatty fish such as salmon, mackerel, sardines, and trout are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, which reduce inflammation, improve endothelial function, and promote healthy blood lipid profiles. Reduced inflammation and improved vessel function translate into better blood flow and can support hormone signaling. If you don't eat fish, walnuts and flax seeds provide plant-based omega-3s, ALA, which are less efficiently converted but still helpful in dietary patterns. How to use them? Aim for 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week as a target. 1 serving is about 3 to 4 ounces cooked. Think a palm-sized fillet. For those who prefer convenience, canned wild salmon or sardines are excellent options. They're shelf-stable and easy to add to salads or whole grain toast. If you don't like fish, include a serving of walnuts, about a small handful, 1 ounce, a day, or add ground flaxseed to oatmeal or yogurt. Quick prep tip: sheet pan salmon. Season, throw on a tray with cherry tomatoes and chopped greens, bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 to 15 minutes, makes multiple servings and reheats well. Evidence note and caveat: clinical evidence indicates omega-3s support endothelial health and reduce markers of inflammation. If you're on blood thinners or have a bleeding disorder, mention omega-3s to your clinician. They can have a modest effect on platelet function. Use food first. Avoid high-dose fish oil supplements unless prescribed and monitored by a clinician. Third food, pistachios and other nuts rich in arginine. Why they help? Pistachios contain arginine, an amino acid that serves as a precursor to nitric oxide production, as well as healthy monounsaturated fats and antioxidants that support vascular health. Small randomized trials have shown that including pistachios can improve measures related to erectile function in men with mild to moderate dysfunction when used as a part of a heart-healthy diet. Other nuts, such as almonds and walnuts, also provide beneficial fats and support metabolic health. How to use them? A daily serving of nuts, roughly 1 ounce, or a small handful, is a practical habit. For pistachios specifically, a 1 ounce serving is about 49 kernels. Keep them unsalted to control sodium intake. Use pistachios as a mid-morning snack. Sprinkle chopped nuts on yogurt or salads, or blend them into a pesto to dress vegetables. Practical recipe idea: crushed pistachio over roasted cauliflower with lemon and olive oil. Evidence note and caveat: small studies suggest pistachios can improve vascular-related function when used consistently. Nuts are calorie-dense, so watch portion size if weight is a concern. A single ounce makes a satisfying snack without excess calories. If you have a nut allergy, choose alternatives like seeds, pumpkin or sunflower, or legumes for protein and healthy fats. Those are the 3 foods to lean into: beetroot and nitrate-rich greens, fatty fish or omega-3 rich plant alternatives, and pistachios or other nuts for arginine and healthy fats. Each targets circulation and inflammation in slightly different ways. Combined, they support the physiological levers we care about. Now let's talk about 3 foods you should avoid or sharply limit because they work against those same levers. First, avoid processed meats. Think sausages, bacon, hot dogs, and many deli meats. Why they harm? Processed meats tend to be high in sodium, saturated fat, industrially processed nitrates, and preservatives that are associated with worsened vascular function and higher cardiovascular risk. Consistently high intake of these products contributes to endothelial dysfunction, increased oxidative stress, and higher blood pressure, all of which undermine potency. What to swap in? Choose lean, minimally processed proteins, such as skinless poultry, plain canned tuna or salmon, beans and lentils, or grilled tempeh. If you love bacon as a weekend treat, look for nitrate-free options and shrink portion size. Better yet, use turkey bacon or a thin slice of smoked salmon as an occasional flavor accent rather than a full serving. Second, avoid sugary drinks and refined carbohydrates, sodas, sweetened beverages, pastries, white bread, and many breakfast cereals. Why they harm? These foods cause rapid blood sugar spikes and insulin surges. Repeated insulin spikes promote insulin resistance, weight gain, and chronic inflammation, all of which impair endothelial function. High intake of added sugars is linked to poor vascular health and worse metabolic markers, which cascade into reduced potency. What to swap in? Water, sparkling water with citrus, unsweetened iced tea, or a whole piece of fruit if you crave sweetness. For breads and grains, choose whole grains, steel-cut oats, whole grain bread, brown rice, quinoa, which release energy more slowly and help stabilize insulin and energy levels. If you want a treat, pair a small dessert with a source of protein or healthy fat to blunt the sugar spike. Third, avoid excessive alcohol. Why it harms? Alcohol in heavy amounts interferes with hormone balance, impairs sleep quality, and can blunt nerve and vascular responses. Even regular drinking that pushes beyond moderate levels increases inflammation and can worsen metabolic health. Timing matters. Drinking heavily in the hours before sexual activity often reduces performance acutely. What to swap in? If you drink, aim for moderation. Current general guidance is up to 2 standard drinks per day for men, but for older adults concerned about potency and sleep, aiming lower, 1 or fewer drinks most days, is often wiser. Avoid drinking in the window just before intimacy. If you suspect alcohol contributes to sleep problems or medication interactions, discuss lowering or pausing intake with your clinician. If you're using alcohol to cope with anxiety or stress, consider alternatives like a short walk, breathing exercises, or social time with a friend. Now a practical day built around these choices, a sample plate and simple recipes you can try immediately. Morning. Start with a breakfast that supports nitric oxide and omega-3s. Option A, a smoothie made with 1 small cooked beet or 2 to 3 tablespoons of pre-roasted beet, a cup of frozen berries, a handful of spinach, half a banana, and water or unsweetened almond milk. Add a tablespoon of ground flaxseed if you don't eat fish. Option B, plain oatmeal topped with a tablespoon of chopped walnuts, a small handful of blueberries, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Drink water first thing and have a small cup of coffee if you like it. Mid-morning snack, a small handful, 1 ounce, of unsalted pistachios, or a yogurt topped with crushed pistachios and a few berries. This keeps blood sugar steady and provides arginine and healthy fats. Lunch, A salad with mixed nitrate-rich greens, spinach or arugula, roasted beets, canned wild salmon or grilled salmon, a quarter cup of quinoa for fiber, and a dressing made from extra virgin olive oil and lemon. Simple vinaigrette, 1 part lemon juice to 3 parts olive oil, a pinch of salt, and black pepper. Afternoon, a 10 to 20 minute brisk walk after lunch helps with blood sugar control and circulation, a tiny habit with big returns. If you need a snack, choose raw vegetables with hummus or an apple with a small handful of walnuts. Dinner, sheep pan fatty fish, salmon or mackerel, with a side of sautéed Swiss chard and roasted sweet potato. Sweet potatoes are a whole carbohydrate that releases more slowly than white potatoes and pair well with the fish. Alternate fish dinners with a bean-based chili or a stir-fry that includes spinach and a variety of colorful vegetables. Evening, limit alcohol or have no more than 1 small drink and avoid heavy meals close to bedtime. Track sleep quality. Better sleep often correlates with better hormone balance and daytime energy. Simple recipes and swaps you can use this week. Roast a tray of beets and a batch of salmon at the same time. Make a big salad bowl with spinach, beets, canned salmon, chopped pistachios, and a lemon olive oil dressing that you can portion out for 3 lunches. For a quick snack, mix unsalted pistachios with a few dried cherries, no sugar added, for contrast. Shopping tips. Look at labels for sodium and added sugar. Choose canned fish packed in water or olive oil with minimal additives. For meats, choose cuts labeled no added nitrates when possible. For nuts, choose unsalted varieties. Keep a bag of frozen wild salmon fillets in the freezer for convenience. They thaw and cook quickly and are often less expensive than fresh. Now, how does diet fit into daily life beyond the plate? Diet is a powerful lever, but it works best with a few short habits that boost circulation and the effect of foods. First, movement. A short walk after meals, even 10 to 20 minutes, helps with blood sugar control, digestion, and endothelial responsiveness. Over time, consistent post-meal walks reduce insulin spikes and support weight control. Second, breathing. A simple breathing pattern can influence autonomic balance, lowering stress hormones and improving vascular tone. Try this practical exercise. Inhale for a count of 4, hold gently for a count of 2, and exhale for a count of 6. Do 6 cycles when you're at your desk, before bed, or after a walk. This 4-2-6 pattern calms the nervous system and supports circulation. Third, 1-minute pelvic awareness. You don't need a procedure or massage. Just spend 60 seconds each day bringing gentle attention to the pelvic region while breathing. Sit comfortably, place your hands on your lower abdomen or upper thighs, breathe slowly with the 4-2-6 rhythm, and notice tension versus ease. This brief habit encourages pelvic floor relaxation and awareness, improves connection to bodily sensations, and when combined with dietary changes and movement, helps accelerate perceived improvements. If you have pain or a history of pelvic surgery, consult a clinician before starting any new physical practice. Let me share a brief vignette I see often in clinic. A patient in his late 60s, let's call him James, switched out sugary breakfast cereal for an oat bowl with walnuts, added a daily salad with spinach and roasted beets, and made 2 dinners a week with salmon. He also started a 15-minute walk after lunch and practiced the simple breathing I described. After 3 weeks, he reported better morning energy, fewer nighttime bathroom trips, and greater confidence with intimate activity. I share that not as a guarantee, but as an example of how small, consistent shifts in diet and daily habits often produce noticeable differences in just a few weeks. That leads to a practical 3-week challenge you can try. Week 1. Focus on swapping the worst offenders. Eliminate sugary drinks. Replace processed breakfast foods with whole grain or protein-based options, and introduce 1 serving of nitrate-rich greens or beet into a daily meal. Week 2, add 2 servings of fatty fish or plant omega-3s across the week, and make unsalted pistachios your regular snack. Keep post-meal walks to 10 to 20 minutes, and practice the 4-2-6 breathing twice a day. Week 3, add consistency. Track servings, sleep quality, and a simple potency-related metric such as morning erections frequency or perceived firmness on waking, noting that these are imperfect but useful markers of progress. Don't expect perfection. Aim for steady improvement. What changes might you notice, and on what timeline? Many men report better energy, more consistent morning erections, and improved endurance within a few weeks. Vascular and metabolic adaptations continue over months with consistent diet and activity. Remember that outcomes vary. Age, baseline health, medications, and underlying conditions influence results. The goal is measurable improvement and greater confidence, not a promise of complete reversal. Safety points and when to see a clinician. If you experience sudden changes, sudden pain, chest discomfort, fainting, or a rapid decline in function, seek urgent medical care. If you're on prescription nitrates, have unstable blood pressure, or are on multiple cardiovascular medications, check with your prescribing clinician before starting concentrated beet juice or making large dietary changes. If you're on anticoagulants, flag the addition of daily high-dose omega-3 supplements or heavy increases in foods that may affect bleeding risk. Food-based omega-3s are generally safe, but always good to discuss. Never stop or alter prescribed medications without medical guidance. A few practical label checkpoints in the grocery aisle. Aim for lower sodium in packaged items. Compare brands and choose the lower sodium option. Look at ingredient lists for added sugars. If sugar is in the top 3 ingredients, consider another product. Avoid trans fats or partially hydrogenated oils outright. For canned goods, choose options with no added sugars and minimal additives. Before I close, one more quick swap list you can implement tonight. Replace soda with sparkling water and a squeeze of lemon. Replace bacon at breakfast with smoked salmon or a small portion of grilled turkey. Replace a pastry with a bowl of plain Greek yogurt topped with a tablespoon of chopped pistachios and a few berries. These small changes add up. Now the final invitation. Take the 3-week challenge. Start with one concrete swap today. Type in the comments which one you'll make tonight: beet, fish, or pistachio. If you want the principal 3-week plan I referenced, say ready in the comments and I'll pin a link. If you have questions about medication interactions or a complex medical history, schedule a visit with your clinician before you change anything major. A brief medical disclaimer. This video shares general information based on current clinical insights and research. It doesn't replace individualized medical advice. If you have ongoing health conditions, are taking prescription nitrates, anticoagulants, or multiple cardiovascular medications, or if you experience sudden symptoms, consult your healthcare provider. Small, consistent changes can have a surprisingly large effect. Diet shifts that support nitric oxide, reduce inflammation, and stabilize metabolism, combined with short movements and breathing, give the vascular system a chance to respond again. For many men over 60, that translates into better function, improved confidence, and more satisfying daily life. If you found this useful, subscribe for weekly evidence-informed men's health tips and leave a comment with the one swap you'll make tonight. I look forward to hearing your progress, and remember, change doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful.